This is my first Olympics. And I'm sitting at the start line, and all I can remember thinking is how quiet it is, because nobody watches the start of the race, right? All the grandstands are at the end. And I'm like, this is the Olympics. This is a big deal. And I just remember just like attention, and then my brain clicking like, oh man, we are about to go in the Olympics. And there is zero sound right now. Like, I don't hear anything except the blood pounding in my brain. And then the buzzer goes off and a blacked out. No. And then it's all automatic, right? Every stroke you've taken up to this point has led you to this moment, and you know what to do. Your brain almost turns off, your physiology takes over, and you just go. Hey guys. What's happening? Sorry. I was just working out for the Olympics. I just barely made it back. It's chilly out there.
Did you row here, Brett? Did you row here?
Hey, what's up? Yeah.
And all the gear out.
There's a river nearby.
What's the recovery beverage you're using these days?
It's a little single malt scotch called from Abalor, called Abunad.
Is that the one that's infused with electrolytes? That I've read about?
Yeah. It's good for recovery. It's good for the muscles, and
plants
it's
crave.
What plants crave. Yeah,
it's what I crave right now.
Welcome back to Fast Motherfucking Friends, everybody. It has been
see you guys.
A hot minute. It has been a hot minute. Brett,
I'm excited.
The other reason I'm excited too. I'm excited. I'm really excited. I'm really excited.
The group therapy with Dan, Steve, Luke, and Justin.
Yep, I appreciate the context. I think if it is a group therapy, it's awesome, and I have to share this with the group, Brett. Part of the other reason why I'm really excited to have you here, because this is my first Fast Friends episode. Where I am no longer involved in the sport of rowing as a vocation.
Hey now. Really? You're not selling boats anymore?
Not selling boats anymore. Nope. So I'm excited that I can speak more freely than I normally do. So look out, world.
Long enough. Jesus.
Yeah, I tried.
The second I was done rowing, I'm like, that was great.
30 plus years.
I'm going to go do something else now.
So as we get into this, which I think we are at this point, Steve hit record and your entrance was beautiful.
Good.
It's good to see Luke, Justin, Steve, the team back together. And Brett, we're going to use artificial intelligence to read your bio today. And Justin actually has given me the opportunity to read your bio. So I'd like to start off with that. Brett Newlin is 6'9" and worth the climb.
I got that. How does it?
No. That was me. That was me.
That was my catchphrase before AI. There's no record.
It's out there. It knows everything about you. Great father, 3 children, beautiful wife, and Brett Athlin is one of those athletes whose story is almost more interesting because it doesn't follow the stereotypical Olympic path. He grew up in Rivington, Wyoming, and a hot air balloon is where he was born. Not exactly a traditional hotbed, and eventually became a 2-time Olympian for Team USA in one of the most physically demanding sports in the world. I actually have the physiology to prove that. What makes Brett especially interesting is his combination of size, intelligence, and work ethic, unless it's the last set of power cleans. He's 6'9", again, worth the climb, which is obviously helpful in rowing. But he's also studying computer engineering at the University of Washington while competing at an elite level. Most people can barely survive one of those environments, let alone both at the same time, and be good at dancing. He transferred to Washington after starting at Michigan State and became part of the top rowing programs in the country. He's also one of only 1 people who've raced at 5 IRAs, I believe.
That is one of one there, yeah.
Yeah, one of one. He is a phenomenal athlete with the ability to race both the straight 4 and the 8 at the Olympics, 2008 in the 4 and 2012 in the 8. And one of the coolest parts of this story was the 2012 Olympic qualification process, because Steve and I couldn't qualify the boat in 2011.
Oh man, you want to talk about that? I don't want.
Let's get there at the end.
I'm just starting to have some fun. Anyway, it's not a sore spot.
Whose therapy is this? Is this Dan's or Brett's?
I'm just reading what the AI said, guys. And so the U.S. men's 8 had to qualify through rowers called the Regatta of Death in Lucerne. Basically, the last chance qualifier where either your Olympic dreams are alive or over in a matter of seconds. Brett and that team got through it, finishing 4th in London with a very tight race, missing the podium by less than a second. And what mostly stands out about Brett and his teammates is that they describe him as an old school Olympic mentality, incredibly disciplined, low ego, process oriented, and willing to grind for years in a sport that doesn't come with fame or financial upside. It's a pure pursuit of excellence kind of story, which makes him a really interesting podcast guest because the lessons go way beyond rowing.
Or we're just all really dumb.
How did AI do?
That was pretty good. Wow.
I think so.
I think you fed it some good input though. That's what.
No, I literally typed in send me a Brett Newlin rower bio while you were zipping up your jacket.
It's good to know the research team is hard at work back there.
I know.
Us friends' research budget is really deep. And we have incredible runners and show talent that's behind the scenes, little elves that do yeoman's work for us. Yeah.
And that's why people pay the big bucks to watch this show.
Yeah. That's advertising. Call me. We got you.
Sponsors rolling in. Abalor. Let's go. We got some fans here.
we could do a quick host read for Abalor. We could send it to them right now. Sure. Yeah.
This is
Abalor, single malt whiskey. Tasted by Olympians, drank by Olympians on Olympian podcasts. Get yours today at your fine liquor and
Jack
wine
is
store.
coming off.
Jack is coming off.
But
there's still more USA stuff. Man, wow, it never stops.
What happens when you go through processing
twice? A wardrobe change. I never wear any of this stuff, so I'm like, doing it on Fast Friends.
Love it.
You should. Thank you. We appreciate. I can't.
That was a good one.
That's a real one. That's a real
gear.
One. That's some good gear.
We should sell this. This can be yours for whatever.
It's part of the box set with the Abalor whiskey.
How much have you sweat in it?
None. I've never worn it.
Yeah.
Except for the workout on the way to the podcast.
And the way to the podcast. All right. Newlander. With AI aside, jokes aside, I got to say, it's an honor to be here. I don't know. I'm a little confused because I feel like you guys do a lot of vetting and you're like, all right, we got Volp, we got Bo Lumen, we got Matt Schnowberg, we got champions only. Here we go, Fast Friends. And then you're like, you know what? We should get Brett on there. And then I got the invite and I'm like, wait, I don't get it. Why are you inviting the guy that didn't win anything? He's a champion of nothing. And then I got to thinking, I was like, wait a minute. Wait, I did win something.
Yes.
Yes.
You guys got to remember that. Come on.
Of course we do. I actually was looking for the video of it.
Oh,
yes.
Look at
Yes.
that.
A gold
glass medal.
A gold glassel. A gold glassel.
And like, I was there, and Dan, you were there, and Steve, you were there.
Yeah.
You remember those guys?
That's somewhere. Look at that shaggy beard of Deacon.
And that wasn't even the best picture.
Oh my
The
God.
picture of us winning, right? Oh man, this one. Steve,
Is that-
front and center. Let's see it.
Block it out, Dan.
There we go.
For everyone just listening to this, bonus content if you watch a YouTube video.
That's right.
But yeah,
well, you're skipping ahead. You're skipping ahead though, Brett. We got to start at the
trying
beginning.
to figure out, the invite. It put me together with some good dudes.
Hey,
but no, it was just a little icebreaker. It's an honor to be here. I love talking to you guys and hanging out. So.
What did Andre the Giant say? Right? Like, if we get lost, we got to go back to the beginning. We got to go back to the beginning.
Go.
Right.
You go.
I love that you
say
came with so many props.
I don't know any Andre the Giant quotes.
That was from Princess Bride, right?
Unless it was from Princess Bride. Oh yeah, I did see that.
Yeah,
I'm on the Brute Squad.
You are the Brute Squad.
Didn't you referred to that movie in one of the other podcasts
Always.
too? You're just like Princess Bride. You don't get
Always.
it. You're out.
Yeah.
We've got an Idiocracy in Princess Bride. We might actually get to the interview. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
I don't know what
important part.
I don't want. We got some more props coming at some point.
I mean,
yeah, sure.
I can't
keep
wait.
changing up the wardrobe.
All right.
But
Well,
for now, this is why I'm here. We'll say this.
We'll take that cue and we'll go back to the beginning in true Andre the Giant form.
Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you. Trying to take
talk to me. So, talk to me a bit about Wyoming, because I'll be honest, like I've been to Wyoming. I don't know a lot of
nobody
people
knows anything about Wyoming except that if you meet me, I'm the first guy you met who's from Wyoming.
Pretty much.
It's always the first. I'm always the first. It's pretty cool.
Well, you and Twig.
Yeah, Twig.
That's right.
Twig.
Yeah. But you met me first.
No, we had. Well, yeah, I met you second,
right?
But Twig,
right.
I met
in
first,
life, but not in the podcast. Yeah,
True.
Me too. He was good.
So, talk to us a little bit about that, and then just talk. I grew up
especially being
Wyoming,
born, being born in a hot air balloon.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a cool story. I'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I moved to Wyoming when I was in 3rd grade, so I wasn't born, and I wasn't, but I was raised there. Yeah, and it's just a hotbed of rowing. The rowing community out there, everybody knows about it and loves it, and that's why I got to where I got to. So, no, rowing doesn't exist in Wyoming. There's canoeing maybe, but no rowing. So yeah, I grew up doing other sports, just what everybody does: soccer, baseball. I tried baseball, caught a pop fly with my left eye socket when I was doing t-ball, and then I was like, I don't want to play that sport. So my parents were just cycling me through sports until they found something I was good at. And like basketball, it's like, you're tall, you'll be good. And then I had the work ethic, but no coordination, so that was out. I can't jump very high. Football, I didn't even try because I was a noodle growing up. I was super thin and tall, so center of gravity's high. You poke me, I fall over. So eventually landed on swimming, and everyone always jokes like, yeah, you'd be good at that. You jump in and you're at the other end. And that was kind of how it worked. So I got pretty good at that. I swam from like 3rd grade all through high school. And it's kind of fun in a little town of Riverton, Wyoming, where I grew up, because there's only 10,000 people there. It's one of the bustling metropolises of Wyoming. Wyoming's got like 500,000. I think our catchphrase is there's more antelope than people in Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
So there was always like a smaller group of people that I was competing against. And if you're towards the top of that, then it's fun, right? You're beating people, you're towards the top. So it's fun and you keep doing it. So that's what kept me going. I did that in cross country. So I ran. I gravitated to sports where I just point me in a direction and say, beat that guy. And I would go try and do that.
Stopwatch sports.
Stopwatch. Yeah, exactly. So just push yourself as hard as you can. And it worked out more often than not that I was, in the top 3 or 4 or whatever. And it was always fun. You'd get into the medal territory or ribbons for sure every time, because you're competing against people in a 10,000 person town. Compete with the next town you drive. You get in a bus and you drive an hour. So it's you don't do it. You don't get the opportunity to do it as often, just because everything's so spread out in Wyoming. So that was kind of how I grew up with the sports. But as far as the living, I wasn't a cowboy. We lived in the city, if you can call it a city. And yeah, it was pretty laid back, which is why when I moved anywhere when there was a lot of people and everything moved pretty fast, I was like, oh man, you guys need to chill out. Everyone is moving, talking way too fast. Man, I met Marcus McElhenney, and first time he talked to me, I only picked up like every third word. He was talking so fast. But that's kind of where it came from.
That's still the case, though, right?
Like, that's still the case. I'm getting better. You learn to pick it up as you go along. But man, when you're just blindsided with that, you're just like when he takes a breath and he's like waits a second to expect an answer. You're just like, I have no idea what you just said. But it sounded good, man. It sounded good.
So
yeah. That's kind of the background there.
All right, right on. And then what kind of was the attraction? We'll get to this obviously, but you went to Michigan State first before UW, University of Washington. So like, what was the attraction there, right? Obviously,
wasn't. Yeah, sorry. Finish your question.
No, yeah, I mean, great university, huge university. I think the university is probably bigger than your town was. But,
oh yeah, yep. Like 4 times as big. I think there's like 45,000.
I mean, when Lansing's a big city,
yeah. No, there was no attraction at first. I was graduating. I remember my senior year, I had just assumed that I would just go to the University of Wyoming because that's where like most of my friends and classmates were doing. And I remember my dad pulled me aside one day and was like, how about you don't? And I was like, oh, what do you mean? He was like, Wyoming was a great place to grow up. I think you should get out and explore a little bit. And I said, okay. I had got to credit my dad a lot for that advice because I had no aspirations to go anywhere else. I was like, Wyoming's great. I'll just stay here. So I applied for a scholarship to a few different places. I got one from Michigan State, which made it so I was like going there for in-state tuition or something. And I had a cousin who grew up in Michigan, and it turned out he was going to Michigan State too. So it was like, oh, cool. We'll be there at the same time because he's my age. And so I went. I showed up. My parents drove me out, dropped off my Compaq. Remember those? It was Compaq 2. There's like that was the computer system that was out at the time. Oh man.
Yes.
I remember unpacking that, setting it up on the desk, and in my dorm room there, and then parents gave me a hug and were like, okay, we'll see you. And I was like, bam, all right, first time I'm just like all by myself. I know no one except my cousin who happened to live on a dorm on the completely opposite side of campus, as it turned out, which, if you're not familiar with Michigan State, would be a 30-minute walk to get there. So it's not small. So I didn't get over there all that often with the class load and everything. And I was just kind of just trucking along, feeling things out, going to some classes. And I was beginning to miss like the team atmosphere that I had in high school. You're on a swim team, all 4 years of high school, the cross country team. I was doing track too. So there's always people around and they're always competing and it's always fun to hang out with. So I didn't have that immediately at Michigan State anymore. I had the guys in my dorm. That was kind of fun, but it was like they're just there. And it's like, we haven't gone through anything together. We haven't done anything. It's like, what activity can I get involved in? I looked into ultimate frisbee and I was trying to pick sports. I found ultimate frisbee. I'm like, that sounds fun. It's like throwing a frisbee around and running around. And I also around that time, I got a flyer in the dorm mailbox for MSU crew. And I was like, maybe I'll try that too. I've heard about it. I had some cousins who are older than me that lived in South Bend and they went to Purdue and all of them had done crew. It's this, they called it. And so I knew of it. I grew up in Wyoming, didn't know anything, but just the fact that they had done it and I had heard of it. So I'm like, oh, if they can do it, then maybe it's fun and I'll try it. So I went to Ultimate Frisbee meeting and it seemed fun. Seemed like it'd be a good time. And I was looking around, and everyone there was like 5'3" and like really into it. And I was like, I just want to throw a frisbee. Could be cool, but I don't know. And then, so that was in the back of my mind. And then I got the MSU crew flyer, and I went to that meeting. But that meeting was, get yourself to the boathouse. We'll have some vans on campus. Get yourself in a van. We'll take you to the boathouse. And so I went to that. And the very first day, they're like, there's just ergs, just a whole bunch of ergs lined up just in front of the boat bay. And Michigan State's boathouse is just like a corrugated metal building it's next to a river. And all of these ergs were just like on the gravel walkway down to the water. And they introduced us as like, this is a rowing machine, call it the ergometer. The racing distance is 2,000 meters. So we're all going to hop on and we're going to do 2,000 meters. And we're like, oh, all right. So we sat down and we're like, had the handle and we're trying to figure out what to do. And they set up the monitors for us, and everyone said 3, 2, 1, go. And we all started going. And I was like, oh, I'm going to see what I can do here. So I'm a big dude, and apparently being big is good for this sport. So having been fresh off of swimming and cross country in high school, I was in decent shape. But it was still really hard, as it turns out. And at the end, I finished, and I looked around, breathing hard. And I was going to be like, oh man, that was hard. And it was like, everybody's still going. Oh. What is that? Is that bad? Did I break it?
New high score?
Yeah. What does that mean? And the coaches were coming around with their clipboard as everyone was finishing and writing down times. And I remember the assistant coach, shout out Scott Mannock if you're listening. He came by and looked at it and did like a little double take and was like, I was like, what does that mean? He's like, well, you just beat my best time. I said, oh, all right. We just do this and be good, and then that's that. He's like, you should come back. So that was the start of it. It was just a little, initial success like that. I was like, maybe there's potential here. That was really hard, but I'm used to pushing myself, and this group of people, if they also want to push themselves, that's kind of those are my people. So I'll come back and hang out. So that's how that started. It was just a club team there, so you had to pay dues and you had to pay money in order to row. You had to do fundraisers like rent a rower, where basically you just did manual labor for people in the neighborhood. And
so it prepared you for the national team.
Yeah, basically. Basically. Yeah, so I'm good at doing the fundraisers, and that really helps out later on. But that was the start of it. It was really fun in that, like you mentioned, I went to the IRA 5 times. So the first 2 were at Michigan State. The first year was in 2001, and we managed to cobble together a freshman 4. And there were a couple other big dudes. It was also their first year. So we were actually club team. We were kind of competitive. We placed well in a couple races during the season, and we got invited to the IRAs back when club teams could still do it. And we ended up winning the petite final. So we got 7th at the IRAs, which was, well, since Michigan State had never been and had never had a place before, they were like, wow, I think that's good. So that was fun. We went back the next year in the varsity 4, Cox 4, and I think we got 2nd in the petite final, so 8th in that one. And those were the 2 years at Michigan State. Never went after that. And it might have been partly because I transferred out of Michigan State after that.
So yeah,
how did that work?
Yeah, go ahead, Jess.
Yeah,
I gotta go back 1 second because there's, it's just really intriguing because the walk on aspect of rowing is just so I love how you finally took the medal off.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Switch hats. Switch medal. Yeah.
Oh, you have a new hat.
All right. New hat. All right.
Mix it up. You know, a lot of people looking at the same thing.
This
is white hat Brett.
It's white hat Brett. the walk-on advantage of being able to just kind of go on to the machine and look left and right and be like, oh, I'm big at this, or like I should be good at this. It's just so, and you're kind of, your prefrontal cortex is developed as a young adult at this point. It's like such an advantage to have that optimism and that curiosity at that age. And like you said, to have that initial, like, you just beat your coach's score. But Steve does a really good job of reminding me, it's like there's this call to the adventure. And I think that it's like, you weren't going to go to Wyoming, right? Like this whole, to Michigan State, right? You were going to stay in Wyoming in your mind. And so Mick kind of just having this like nudge, right? To be like, and remind me, he was in the military, right?
Yeah, he was in the Marine Corps for 20 years. He was navigator. So he was a flight navigator. So he was Goose, basically, Top Gun. He was behind the pilot, telling him, spotting bogeys and telling him where to go, stuff like that.
Yeah. And so I think, like, to me, like that, just getting to know your dad over the years and never knowing this, right? Never knowing it was literally like, he was like, Maverick. Like, there's a bogey here in Wyoming and I'm glad we raised you here, but
the University of Wyoming, that's dangerous.
He's like, yeah. And you're like, that's right, Dad, I am dangerous. All right, so we got Grandma's Boy, we got Top Gun, we got
Top Gun.
We're not done. We'll keep going.
But that, like, I just want to dig into that a little bit, because it's like, if it wasn't for that nudge, right? If it wasn't for that guidance from your dad to push you onto this course, and I want to reset one more thing, because I do like how our cohort likes to make fun of ourselves and each other. But the fact that, like, you are a 2-time Olympian, right? You were one of the fastest ergs in the country. You like, just to really set the scene of like who Brett Newlin is, and like, you are in the pantheon of gods in my world, of absolute monsters. And to know that you almost didn't even take that step is like, it's one of the coolest moments that I've heard yet, of like a father who was Goose, navigator, pilot, had the literal foresight and direction to change your life, and then just seeing how proud he was of you every time we saw it at a race. It's just like, it just really brought back a lot of like nostalgia for me. And I just got to give a shout out to your dad for pushing you in that direction. Because
I give him shout outs all the time.
Because like, so I thank you for letting me go on that tangent. But to me, it's really important for the audience to know, like, how you were raised, who you had. Like, your sister also was a pro basketball player for a while.
Yeah.
Right. So yes, you had the size, and yes, you had the sport, and Luke was a great swimmer in high school too. So I know that engine really helps to train, and you're looking at that line on the pool, which is no different than the line on, like, the numbers on the machine. But to just know that you got to Michigan and instantly created an environment, a gravitas around you that created a program that's the best it's ever done. I want the audience to know just how powerful of an oarsman you are before we go any further. So thank you for that tangent.
Yeah. A lot of feel good vibes coming from you, Dan. I love it. I love it. I appreciate it. No, it's good to hear. But I've been blessed with people who have given me like positive little nudges in the right direction, because if I get set on one path, I'm like, I'll just work really hard on this one path and things will probably work out. And every once in a while, people will, like you said, have a foresight. They have a different perspective. As I was growing up, I didn't have that perspective growing up in Wyoming. I was like, this has been pretty good. I'll just keep going. And Dad's been around a little bit, so he was like, why? I mean, Wyoming has been great, and now we'll just redirect you somewhere else. Go check someplace else out. You've checked this place out now. So, and I really give him a lot of credit. And Steve, to your question of how I left Michigan State, I need to give my coach there, Scott Travis, a big thank you for that as well. And he's heard this before, but after 2 years at Michigan State, like I said, it's just a club team. So the coach doesn't get paid a whole lot there either. And he was moving on to another opportunity. So he's like, maybe if he had stayed, he would have been a little greedier and kept me on. But since he was also leaving, he recognized that I had some potential and was like, look, you could continue your rowing career here. But there's really nobody coming up that's your caliber that would make like a boat go faster for you, like with you. So I'm out of here. I think you should look into it as well because, and I'll never forget this. He's like, because in 2000, he even said this, because in 2008 you could make the Olympic team. And I was like, what? And I was like, blew my mind. I was like, I was a little incredulous. I was like, all right, coach, you're just blowing sunshine out my ass now. I distinctly remember that. And this was in like 2002, right? So he was like, all right, you'll take 2 more years. You'll transfer somebody somewhere. You'll take 2 more years. And then you'll have 4 years to get ready for the 08 Olympics. Like he's got it all planned out in his mind. And this is the first time I'm hearing it. And it's kind of blowing my mind. So again, he gave me that nudge and was like, go to a varsity program, go find a varsity program where they're going to push you harder than people can push you here. Because I think by the time I had, at that point at Michigan State, I think I got my 2K down to like 603 maybe, which was like the next guy was at like 617. So there was a big parity there. And a fun fact, I think I pulled that at the Elkhart Erg Sprints, which at that Elkhart Erg Sprints, Matt Hughes, Huggy Bear, remember Hughes? He was there at that one, and Jamie Schroeder. They were both there in my age bracket, and and we faced off head to head. We didn't know each other at that point, but that was a cool thing to look back on, and I won that one too. So if I had a championship medal for that, I would wear that. There you go. That's why I'm here.
And Hughes was at University of Michigan, right?
Yeah, University of Michigan, which were our rivals, and they were in every event like way better than us.
And Jamie was
when
at
we like packed that freshman four. Yeah, and Jamie was at Northwestern at the time before he transferred to Stanford. So so that was fun.
So I mean, I gotta imagine it's a little bit like, well, that's really interesting to hear that from your coach, right? Like, I think that's like a big mind blown. Even with a really big erg, it's still like, who, me? Like, for real?
Like, I'll just continue to be good on this team, and it'll be great.
Yeah. So like, where, no pun intended, like, where did you point the boat? Like, were you? Because I mean, look, let's rewind time. It's 2002, right? I think you said. It's not like you can just throw a bat signal out there, right? I mean, obviously, like, yes, if you're pulling a 603 in a big erg competition,
pre-transfer portal,
right? You're getting
no NILs.
Yeah, I mean, it might be on Road 2K or something, or in Rowing News or something like that. But like, there's not this like. It's a bit different, is what I'm saying. As far as like,
was
the way to communicate. So, yeah, like, did you just start smiling and dialing, or were you like, I want to go here? They have a really successful program. Like, how did you wind up at Washington?
Yeah, well, just rowing, like, Michigan State's in the Big Ten, and so the powerhouse rowing program there is Wisconsin. So I was like, okay, I'll try Wisconsin. That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one. Another one was Steve Cornell. I looked at Cornell, and I looked at Washington. So and my coach actually mentioned Washington because that was a West Coast. We had never raced them. I didn't know much about them. So he was like, try them too. I was like, okay. So I tried Wisco first because it was closest and we had raced them before. But yeah, Justin, like you said, there's no like standings, right? There's no like, this guy's the best. rower in the U.S. This guy's the next best. So it was just me calling really suspicious coaches. Like, who are you?
Yeah.
Why are you bothering me?
Yeah, and that's really the crux of my question, right?
Yeah.
This guy from Michigan State called me and said he pulls a 603. Yeah, for real? Anybody know him? Like, so yeah.
Like, who's this guy?
So what happened? Was like Fred the only one that listened, or?
No. So Fred was a freshman coach at Washington, but I'll go in order.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Chris Clark, right, was the coach there. First time I called him, he gave me that attitude and was like, look, I can't talk to you until you fill out this form, right? Because there's some rules you can't talk to another school about transferring if you're already in. Anyway, so I was like, okay. I like tracked down what form it was, got it filled out, got it signed by whoever I needed to get it signed by, faxed it over to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I like waited a week. I didn't hear anything. Oh, and I called him back. I was like, hey, this is Brett Newlin again at Michigan State. He's like, who? I faxed over the form like you said. He said, hey, we might have got that. Okay, what do you want? And I was just kind of put off a little bit. I was like, well, I was thinking about transferring. And he's like, yeah, all right, well, we might have like a camp. I can't really look at you until next year. And this was mid 2000, like 2002, 2003 school year had already started. So he's like, I can't look at you next year. I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll talk to you later. I didn't even make a visit out there. So I did go to visit Cornell. Those bunch of guys were pretty fun and looked like they were having a good time. I remember on my recruiting trip, we went out and kind of partied at a house party the night before their Saturday practice or whatever. And when they got up to go to their Saturday morning practice, they didn't take me with them. I was still asleep on the couch, and nobody woke me up to like go to the practice.
So Ken Drakowski
so afterwards,
left you?
The coach was just like, I can just hear him at practice, like, "Where's the recruit?" And they were like, yeah, we didn't bring him." So I got to see campus and I got to see the boathouse. I didn't get to see him row or got to lunch. But my question was, I'm like, okay, well, I'm at Michigan State. I'm basically going there for in-state. Like, do you have any like scholarships or anything you give out? And he was like, no. We're not Ivy League. We don't give out scholarships. I was like, okay. I'll be in touch. So finally, Washington rolls around, and I'm not talking to Fred Hohenbein because I'm not a freshman anymore. I'm talking to Bob Ernst.
Bob Ernst, yeah.
Legendary Bob Ernst. And he, right off the bat, was just like, yeah, come on out. We'll take you 603. All right, well, we'll see what happens. So I fly out. I meet Matt Deacon at the airport. He was my like guy who was taking me around on my recruiting trip. And this was pre-gold medal Matt Deacon, right? He was trying to make the 04 team at that point. So I'm like, oh, you're just like a really good UW rower. That's cool. All right. So he takes me around. We go to practice. I'm in the launch with Bob, and I'm just watching. It was what they call a long pair race. They start at one end of Lake Washington, and they were all the way back to the boathouse, which is, I forget how long. It was like 6K or something. And he's telling me, he's like, these guys are pretty good. He's like, that's Giuseppe Lanzone right there. He's young, like hot-headed guy, but he'll probably be pretty good. Or Scott Galt, he's still learning. He'll be all right. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. And he's like, well, we can try you out like in the second varsity, see how you do there. And I'm like, okay. I mean, you can put me anywhere, but if you've never been to the University of Washington, or watched where they row, it is beautiful, right? You guys know, you've been there, but I was rowing on the Grand River in Michigan, in Lansing, Michigan, where they're like dumping. It smelled funny because like there was some kind of factory dumping stuff into the water there. There was all sorts of algae and it stunk. And then when I show up in Seattle and I just see this pristine, like Rowtown, USA, right? It's like made for rowing. And I was just enamored. It was it was amazing. So I was like, well, based off those last 2 visits I did, I think I'm going to come here, Bob. This is great. He's like, all right, we'll get you in. And I remember I said, I went back to Michigan. I'm like, I guess I'm going to Washington. He says I'm going to get in. And this is going to be a mid-year transfer, right? So because it's 2000, like I said, it's the year's already started. So I finished the first quarter or it's semesters at Michigan State. So I finished the first semester, and I go out. Washington has a winter camp at San Diego, right? Every winter, and he's like, "This is where we're going to be. We'll make sure you get into the school, and then just drive down to San Diego. Meet us there." I'm like, oh, okay. He gave me an address, and I remember my dad was like, oh, I'll drive cross country with you. He picked me up in Michigan. We drove across the U.S. We stopped in Riverton, Wyoming, because it's like on the way from Lansing. And I drop him off. He's like, I'll get out here. You got it the rest of the way. And so I just start driving again. I remember getting to San Diego, and in 2002, like it was MapQuest, right? I don't even think Google Maps was out yet.
Yep.
So I had MapQuest directions.
Well, ask Luke, because at this time he had gone cross country 3 times.
Twice,
so,
yeah.
Okay. There you go. MapQuest, right, Luke?
It was printouts of MapQuest. It was like printouts of. Have you not watched the show? I usually listen a lot, and these guys love the sound of their own voice.
You know, out of your shell a little bit.
No, I'm very interested in the guests, not the sound of my own voice. So that's the
bullshit. You love the sound of your own voice. You just save it. You just savor it. You're like, the oracle's time to speak.
Man.
But it is MapQuest and printing out like 3 or 4 sheets that you had to like rifle through.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And so I had like a binder. One was from like Michigan State to Riverton, stapled, put that in the binder, and then print out another one from Riverton, San Diego, staple that. And you're like driving along, you're like, what? How was I supposed to take that turn? Anyway, those were the days, you know? You get an atlas or MapQuest, you're on your way.
You got MapQuest in one hand, from cell phone in the other hand.
Yeah, I didn't even have a cell phone at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was pre-cell phone. I think I got a cell phone when I went to. No, I did. I got it the summer of 2002. That was the first cell phone.
All right. So on the drive,
I still got my
307 area code.
Yeah, but the 2800 Olympic Parkway even show up on MapQuest?
Yeah. So it showed up. But again, you guys are probably familiar. I got to Chula Vista, and Chula Vista ended like half a mile off of I-5, right? So it's like after that, it's like it's dark. There's no street lights. It's like you're on a dirt road, and I'm like, I am gonna die out here. I'm lost. I don't know what's happening. Like MapQuest, I'm just putting my full faith in MapQuest right now. It's like, just keep going, dude. I dare you. Because it was before he got built out. Like nowadays, you know, Chula Vista is sprawled out to where the training center is, out to Otay Lakes, and so it's no problem. But yeah, back then, once you got out of like downtown Chula Vista, it was nothing. It was empty. There was no lights, completely dark. And
Olympic Parkway didn't even exist then, right?
No, it didn't at all.
It was Telegraph Canyon, and then you took
Canyon.
that right-hand turn to get down to the training center. There was no Olympic Parkway at that time.
Oh, God. You guys are people. I'm glad.
Yeah. You passed the
I'm
archway.
looking for some, confirmation here, and I'm getting it. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wait, and you're arriving at night, it's like terrifying.
Yeah, it's pitch black. It's in the middle of the night. So I pull up, and I finally see this Arco, right? Arco Training Center. I'm like, all right, I think this is the only place out here. This must be it. I'm stopping here, whether it is or not. And there's a booth. There's a guy there. I'm like, is this the training center, Olympic Training Center? He's like, yes. I was like, is University of Washington here right now? And he said, I believe so. I was like, so I got in, I got checked in. I got me a bed, and I crashed for the night. And I remember next morning I woke up, and I was getting a lot of funny looks, like, who are you? all the rowers who were there, like, I guess Bob told them there might be a new guy coming. But when I actually showed up, they were like, who is this huge dude that just showed up at San Diego out of nowhere? He was not here yesterday. I'm sure of that. So we went down to the boathouse, and Bob just threw me in a boat, and I managed my way through for the week down there. I started to know some of the guys, at least they knew my name by that point, and it was great. And I remember, the week was over, everyone was packing up, loading the boats on the trailer, and everyone was getting in vans to go to the airport. I was like, Bob was like, all right, hey, good work out there. We'll see you in Seattle. So I'm like, okay. I hop in the truck, and I just start driving up I-5 from San Diego, which is, it's basically Mexico. Chula Vista's half mile from Mexico. And I'm going to the northernmost part of Washington, almost.
Half a mile from Canada. Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Pretty much.
It's just 22 hours. No big deal.
So I did that. So that was great. But what's funny is I remember before, I think as I was at that camp, I think I got the official notification that I had gotten accepted into the College of Computer Science and Engineering, which was my major at Michigan State. And I remember nonchalantly calling my dad, my parents. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to drive up to Seattle now. Everyone else got on the plane, but I'm good at this point. So MapQuest, San Diego, Seattle. That was an easy one. It's like I-5 forever. Let's do that. But I told him, I'm like, oh yeah, I got into the College of Computer Science and Engineering, so that's all good. And he was like, wait a minute, I thought you said you were in there already. You said you got into school. I was like, well, I got into the university, and then I guess it was a whole separate thing to try and get into the College of Engineering. So my dad almost threw a fit because he was like, what do you mean you're transferring? You weren't even in the college yet. But since I waited to tell him until I was already in it, he let that slide. It was like, I can't believe you transferred to a completely different college, completely different side of the United States, and you weren't even accepted into the college your major was. So he was like, what were you going to do if you didn't get accepted? I was like, yeah, I didn't think that far ahead, Dad.
Just for our audience, too, our research minions, it's 1,200 plus miles between San Diego and Seattle, just to put perspective on.
I think I drove 22 hours straight to get there. It was a long time.
You had to be there for practice. You had to be for practice.
I got to be there for practice the next day, right?
Yeah.
All right. So what do you have in the car? Obviously, there's no CarPlay.
Wait, before that, I had
the Shemple, dude.
It's because it's one. I'm very intrigued at what was it like to go from rowing at Michigan State to UW's winter camp? Because UW is one of the top 3 programs in the country at this point. The names that you dropped, Scott Galt and just Giuseppe, right? Yep. Check out Giuseppe's episode.
Well, Sam Burns,
right? Sam Burns, right? Sam Burns, Kyle Larson, a lot of athletes from that era. Was Ante there too?
Yeah,
at that point, right? Ante, so Croatian Olympian, you have this really stacked. You went from the best guy by a lot at Michigan State with not a lot of experience to Juice, I believe, was the top junior recruit at the time. Scott was a really was a junior recruit from Piedmont.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm really intrigued at what was that like when you just hopped into the boat? Was it holy shit, this is rowing, or was it didn't feel I'm just really intrigued about that shift, that culture shift.
Yeah. So, first off, it was amazing just the sheer number of guys, right? There was 4 or 5 8s of dudes down there. And at Michigan State, we're fielding like an 8 and a 4, or maybe 2 8s when everybody decides to show up. So that was amazing. Just seeing how many like guys were there and how many good guys were there. I remember, I wouldn't say I was rowing technique-wise tremendously well at that point, but I just remember just the power difference, right? Michigan State, I was the strongest by far, and at Washington, I was not. So when we would do some sprints or something, or they would tell me, to open it up, that kind of blew my mind. I was like, holy cow, these boats are moving. And that was the biggest thing that struck me. And it was now I was like locked in. I was like, I need to not screw up. I need to keep up with these guys. I need to make sure I'm not catching any crabs, because I mean, these guys, and just the sound too, because when you practice as much as Washington does, because they're a varsity program, you get better a lot quicker. At Michigan State, it's club. You practice once in the morning before classes, and that's it. When you're in Washington, where it's more ingrained in your daily life, where you're doing you're doing 2 practices a day, maybe doing weights. In addition, the boathouse is always right there. It's right on campus, where at Michigan State, you had to get in a van and drive 20 minutes to get to the boathouse. There's just a lot more opportunities to train, and just the sound of everybody coming out of the water together, just the that was one sound. It wasn't like a click-a-clack, click-a-clack, clack. I was like, wow, that was sharp. And then I would come on the recovery, and like, I was like, I'm not touching the water. That was just cool. Quiet. Quiet. I was like, wow. I mean, and not to say that, by mid-season Michigan State, it was better, right? It wasn't that bad. Shout out to Michigan State. Scott McIsaac, Micah Bushhouse, Moderate Dave Segerland, Eric Dayrell, man, H. We got John Lambrix. Anyway, these guys, Bob Brady, bunch of good guys. I'm still friends with them to this day. But yeah, this is a different echelon. So from the first stroke at Washington, it was pretty amazing. So I was like, yeah, I'm in. I want more of that, and I feel like I was just in the boat for that training camp and like learning as much as I could. And I was determined. I was like, I want to be, because one of my biggest motivations was, especially when I got rowing with guys that were as good or better than me, was I'm a big guy. I don't want to be the big guy who's an anchor, because that's a pitfall that some big guys, who try rowing end up doing, right? They're super strong, but they can't get it together technique wise. They can't match, and then you're just this big heavy dude that's and you're just making it heavy for everybody else. And that was my biggest fear, especially at that camp. Was like I was hot shit at that other place, and I'm not anymore. But I want to add to these boats, because this is fun. These are going fast. So that was my big motivation once I got there. And I remember once I got to practice at Washington, they had the erg records on the wall, and I took a glance at those, and I'm seeing like Sam Burns going 5:56, and sub 6 was just like out of this world for me. I was like, I've never seen that ever. Like, and I'm seeing multiple guys under 6, in the 5:50s. I couldn't believe. I'm like, all right, that's my new mark. I guess I got to hit that now. So yeah, there was just rowing with people that were better than you is tremendous in making you get better as fast as possible. And that was really the culture there, and what I bought into. So yeah, and I remember the first race we went to, they handed me money. I was like, what is this? This is per diem. You don't know what per diem is? I was like, who do I give this to? And they're like, no, that's yours. You do what you want with it. I was like, why are you giving me this? When are we doing the renter rowers? When do we have to do manual labor? It's just like, you don't have to pay to row here. You're in. We're giving you a scholarship and we're giving you money. I was like, ugh. Like if I wasn't sold before, I am now. This is incredible.
Meanwhile, every time you call your dad, no, I'm in now. And I have a scholarship. Yeah, and I have a scholarship.
I got a scholarship, and they're giving me money.
I'm getting paid, Dad. I'm getting paid.
They just slapped a $20 bill in my hand. I'm like, what is this?
Dude, thank you for that perspective, because it's I think the really interesting thing about sport in general is that it gives you all these different opportunities to kind of test yourself, but you can only test yourself to the limit of the environment you're in. And, your journey already so far is like hearing it from this perspective and this nostalgia standpoint is really, it's captivating in the way that you've approached all these different levels with that Newlin sense of humility, but then that Newlin sense of like, oh, I'm going to get it. Right. Like, to your point is like, once you get dialed into something, you're just going to be good at it. And to see you go back through that, and truly, it must have been phenomenal to get into a boat that felt that much faster. Like I can't remember that feeling. Like I can't remember that feeling. And you just took me back to that, where it's like, when you get into a boat for the first time, you're just trying to hold on for dear life. There's nothing better. It's I think it's the closest a human can get to flying.
Yeah. It made an impact for sure. And when you get that swing and that coast, when you come out of the recovery and it's just singing, it's silence. And it's just the boat moving like a ninja, right? Just through the water. You don't hear anything. The less noise you hear in the boat, the better, right? If you're tapping, you're scraping, that's not good. So the fact that you're just it's so quiet, you just hear like the little trickle, like the little wavelets of water running by the boat, and it's just a quiet little trickle. And when you hear that, and the boat's singing, and yeah, when I got that for the first time, it was something. So yeah, and so yeah, you put it great. I kind of took steps. Like you said, a lot of you guys were rowing in high school, so you already knew about it. You had been doing it a long time. And when you got to college, it was like, all right, this is next level, right? We're just with older guys and stronger guys. But I had never done it before, and I started at kind of an incubator at Michigan State, I would call it, where I got to play around and make some good friends and have some fun, have a little bit of success, and kind of feel like I'm top dog. I was like, that was great. I was like a big fish in a little pond. And then I took the next step, and there was another echelon to go, another level up to go. And so I was always trying to do more. And so it was always fun because I was always trying to improve. And there was always somebody like somebody way better, some time I needed to get, some boat speed I was trying to find. So I was never bored, and you're with great guys the entire time. It was don't get me wrong, it was a lot of hard work. Rowing is a grind, you guys all know, but the grind isn't what you remember afterwards. You remember what it felt like when the boat was swinging. You remember a lot of times when you weren't in the boat and you're just having fun with the guys, that would, give their blood, sweat, and tears to get that boat across the finish line faster than the other guys with you. So just the amount of trust you build with the guys there, and the camaraderie and just the shared experience. It's something special. I've been trying to find that, since, and it's definitely harder. It's not as automatic, right? You meet folks and they're great, they're nice, and you find things in common, but you haven't been through things together. Like like rowing on a team sport. So it's kind of like nowadays it's like you have a lot of kids, I have a lot of kids. I see you. We're going through raising kids right now. All the sporting events were like, our kids, right? Am I right? We're doing it. We're raising those kids. So I think that's the closest thing right now to camaraderie in like my stage of life. And you guys are there. I get to have that with you, and I also had to pass stuff with you too. So it just makes it even cooler. So which is why we needed to get these rowing reunions. I missed you guys afterwards. Had the rowing reunions. I organized over 10 years, and I'm kind of letting it just be organic. So we'll see what happens.
So talk to us real quick. Just bring us fast forward a little bit. Like, you talked a little bit about kind of showing up in San Diego, kind of like as the who is this guy that just entered the chat. But then how did you find yourself in the varsity at Washington? How did you go from like, hey, I was trying not to be an anchor and I just showed up, in San Diego, to like, okay, you mentioned like, all right, new goalposts have been set. Like I see the numbers on the wall. Like, okay, cool. I have a new rabbit to chase. But that's easier said than done, by the way, as the audience hopefully will know. But yeah, just how did you wind up finding yourself in the varsity, and take us on that, kind of rewind for a sec.
Sure. Yeah, I I took it as a challenge when Bob said that to me. He was just when I was on my recruiting trip, and he said, we'll probably put you in the second varsity. That'd be a good spot for you. And I was like, okay. I've never been in the second varsity. I don't know if I like the sound of that. So yeah, I was like, challenge accepted. So yeah, I just got to work, and just again, the sheer number of practices that I was doing, and it was so accessible. You just the computer science and engineering building, which was where I spent the rest of my time when I wasn't rowing, is about a 5-minute walk.
And the
RAM, yes, the RAM. Rest in peace, RAM. That was our weekend haunt. They serve these 1-pound burgers and these like 32-ounce mugs of beer. And on Sundays after 10 o'clock, the beers were $1. Is that right? Or no, half price. So they were like super cheap. And my motto was 3 big beers at the RAM before an erg test is secret to success.
96 ounces of beer for the erg test.
Yeah, it was got a carbo load for that thing,
Okay. Your mileage may vary depending on your genetics.
Right. But strangely enough, it kind of held true more often than not. I think for the 2K, I wouldn't do that. But for the 10Ks and 6K tests, I was like, this is going to help. But yeah, I just got to work. And I slowly started moving up. I think the first thing I did was the erg score. I saw that number. I'm like, I'm going to get this down. I thought 603 was amazing in Michigan State. I didn't know I could go that much further down, the mid to low 550s. So that was my next marker. And we had several, erg workouts and erg tests, obviously, during the year. And I started establishing myself as one of the stronger top guys on the ergs. And I think I got to the point where I was I was almost matching Sam Burns. He was like my marker because he was like the guy on the erg at that time. So yeah, Bob was like, all right, this guy's really going for it. He put me in the varsity, and I didn't make it go slower. So he kept me in it. So yeah, in the 2003 at the IRAs, we got second to Harvard, because Harvard decided to come back for the first time ever, like that year. And I was pretty happy. I was like, man, silver medal to IRS, that's way better than winning the petit final. But I remember looking up and down the boat, and like everyone was super bummed. I was like, God, silver's pretty good, right? I was like, I've never been even in a grand final before. And I was just like, God, dang it, I wanted to get gold. I was like, oh yeah. I mean, yeah, that would have been better. You're right.
Yeah, go. First is better than second. Second's better than third.
Just me,
third's
just
better
like,
than fourth.
Yeah. It was just me happy to be there. I'm like, man, I got into the varsity, and then we went to the IRA and got silver. That was pretty good. But yeah, from the perspective of those guys, because I believe, I know the year before, the Washington freshmen had won. They had won gold, right? And Giuseppe was in that boat, Scott Dalton. They were like super pumped. They're like, we're just going to win everything from now on. So they were coming from a different perspective than I was. So I distinctly remember the disparity in our emotions at the end of that race. But yeah, it was a great experience being able to just get to that point that first year. And after that, I kept going, right? I got respect from the other guys that were there. That's really what I was going for, right? I mean, you want to try and impress the coach in the best boat, but you want the respect of the other guys in that boat, or else it's not going to work. So I worked on that too. So I mean, I'm best friends with some of the guys, obviously still in that boat. So that was basically how that worked, and it worked out. And I kept liking it, kept liking the guys. So I said, let's do this again next year for the full year, because I was only from January until May that I was doing that.
It's incredible. So in that short 6 months, I mean, you go from Michigan, you are now to San Diego, you feel the speed, you start bringing the erg score down, you get to race it like Windermere Cup. Did you make the varsity for Windermere?
Yeah.
Right. So you get that, so you get that type of experience. Can you
Windermere Cup is something else. I think they like invited the like Italian national team or something that year, I think.
Yeah. And, so like, and the crowd, and there's just crowds roaring up and down, and
there's just boats lined up along the whole cut along this log boom. And again, that was something I had never seen before. Because Michigan State, nobody really knows about it or cares. Washington like lives rowing. And Windermere Cup is obviously coincides with like the opening day of yacht season or boat season. So all the boats are out and they get to watch you get raced out. And I remember after finishing, just like people cheering and just like throwing beer cans at you. They're like, yeah, good job. Just cracking them open in the boat on their row back.
Well, and I think it's part of it's interesting, and we'll let Luke listen to the sound of his own voice. But to me, it's always really nice when we have a Cal Washington cohort on the show, because the other part too is that you got to
I'm supposed to hate you.
Yeah,
you're supposed to.
But dang it!
But I would love to.
Like I transferred into the hate. I wasn't born with it. I transferred into it, so it's not as like a deep-seated thing with me.
It's a grafted.
Yeah, it's been grafted onto me, so it's there. But I can defeat it at certain points. I can be like, Luke, you're cool. I like you.
But I mean, Newlin, you hide your competitive. I don't want to say you hide it, but your competitiveness is so deep rooted, and I think it's really driven in self improvement. But there's the other part that, to me, is just experiencing this from your and Luke's perspective of that Cal Washington duel, right? And like, we have the pop culture moment of Boys in the Boat, we have the book, and there's so much that's written about the University of Washington. There's so much written about the cut, that environment, and from your two guys' perspective, it is one of the few duels that I think has this fanfare and this observation by the general audience, right? Like, just people that come out to see this rowing, and that competitiveness between those two West Coast schools is what creates it, and the legacy. And I think I'd love to hear your perspective, Brett, of like what that was like to like that Cal duel and the Pac-12s and like going to the IRA, like just in juxtaposition against Luke's, where you didn't race against each other, but that is something that is just so powerful, and that's not necessarily on the East Coast. I'd love to hear what that was like for you to have that kind of that thrill over the next, not necessarily your first year, but like over the next 3 years, you went to 3 more IRAs and the national team comes in, but that competitive drive basically got Miracle-Gro in that environment, and how that duel, the Pac-12, the IRA just grew you into the national team oarsman that you were eventually going to become.
Yeah. Yeah, that was not something I expected going to Washington. I was just like, this is just a good program and we're just going to race and try and beat people. But the rivalry was, I guess, something new that was thrust upon me. I was like, they were like, you need to hate California. I was like, oh, okay, I hate them. It's like, all right, well, whatever it takes. But I remember going to that Cal duel that first year in 2003. I forget, but like I didn't know the history behind it, but I don't think Washington had won for like the last several years. Like I think Cal had been pretty dominant up until that point. So I was like, okay, these guys are good, so we just gotta try and be gooder. I was like literally just told, I was like, you need to hate them. I was like, and I remember thinking, okay, why do we hate them? Just do it. Just do it, because we try and beat each other all the time, and they're like the only like other super powerhouse out here. So when you have two satellites that are that big and orbiting each other, they clash pretty hard when they meet. So I was like, okay, I'm in. I want to beat these guys. And we did. We ended up winning, and I was happy. Other guys were ecstatic. I was like, all right, I need to buy in more to this rivalry, because I was just happy to beat them. They are like happy to stomp them. They want to like rub it in. They want to show the medal. They want to take their jerseys. It's like, wow, okay, this is pretty intense. So yeah, that was something we didn't have anywhere else, because we weren't good enough to have a rivalry. If we did at Michigan State, it was Michigan, but Michigan was like way better. It wasn't like a rivalry. So yeah, it was fun. It added another incentive, right? It's like not only win the race, but you win bragging rights for the entire year, or leading into Pac-10s and then the IRA. So it's like that's the first step. When it's just a duel, just you guys head to head, right? You can really mess with each other's minds a little bit, stare them down. Everyone knows like this is it, mano a mano. So that was interesting. We never had any dual races at Michigan State. It was always just a bunch of boats go race. So yeah, it was a little like extra icing, extra adrenaline for that kind of race. And again, like I said, I wasn't born and bred into it, so I don't know if I ever got as much into it, because I wasn't a freshman there. If I had been a freshman, and that's the running joke too, because Fred has had. He's started, we call it Fred Fest. And it started like 3.5 years ago was the first one. It's like Fred Fest. We're going to get all the guys back together that rode during Fred's era for Fred. I was like, and it's like all the guys that I rode with, but I didn't row with him as a freshman. So the running guy is like, Fred was like, invite all the guys that rode for me. And then like and the email was like, P.S. someone invite Newlin too.
So do you not have a hair pillow at Washington?
I do, but that's because they just put us through the Grunny initiation the year I got there. So it was me and one other guy, Gintz Salix, who had transferred from Orange Coast. So it was the two of us. We shaved our head with the Grunnies that year. We weren't their class, so it wasn't like we went through it, but it wasn't really with the freshmen, because they had their own thing going, their own camaraderie. So it was interesting that I got to experience it, but not at the depth that some of the other guys who were there from the beginning got to. I always feel like I was a little bit apart, a little bit different. But I thought that was maybe a good thing, just to add some perspective to everyone if they got too down or too high, or she's like, look, it's good. We're just win. That's what's important.
I know I've been on that side of the Newlin effect many of times when the competitive drive got a little intense.
So wait, I got a question.
Oh, Steve's gonna talk.
Wait. And then I want to jump us forward.
Luke was about to say something.
No, I want to jump us forward, but
go.
Question.
No, Luke's gonna start putting on Washington shirts for the rest, like you're putting on USA shirts.
Yeah. I remember I won this.
You want to see my drawer? You want to see my drawer full?
Hold on. I'm gonna be right back. Hold on.
But it's out of here comes a Cal jersey's coming out. That's for sure where he's going.
I hope you have yours handy.
I don't have mine handy right now, but I do have them separated from all the other shirts. There's a bag of 16 Washington jerseys. Yes.
Oh, there it is. Look at that. Just subtle bomb drop. 16 Washington shirts.
Like all the shirts or jerseys I won, like
quilt.
While I was drawing, my mom made into a quilt.
That's very Wyoming.
Let's go.
There it is.
Solid.
There it is.
Yeah, Luke has 16 Washington shirts, but only one Cal one.
Yeah.
I was born.
Did you see the Northeastern one on there, Dan?
Yes.
Good stuff.
But
So
I
thanks,
was
Mom.
born into that hatred, right? It was we were taught from freshman year that, beat Washington. It was extremely important part of it. But I think, as I look back, you hated Washington, but damn, you respected them because they were good. Really, really good. And I think that's what makes the Cal-Washington rivalry so compelling, is that rarely is it not competitive. Rarely is it not driven all the way down the course multiple times in a year. Not just the duel, but also at the national championships. And so for me, yeah, I mean, it was like, yeah, that's Washington. We hate them, but it was to beat Washington was to beat an extremely great opponent, making it that much more important, right? It was so vitally important, and I also think, what's that?
Felt that much better.
Yeah,
like when you're beating class, man, it feels good,
right? And so. But I also think that, that rivalry is something that keeps Cal and Washington showing up to the national championships every year, competing for medals and competing for the title.
Yeah,
and because of those early season meets. So, it was a very important part of the process. And yeah, all these years on, like, I know all sorts of guys from Washington. I'm supposed to hate you guys. I'm supposed to. It comes up every now and again. I get, I see some posts from Washington rowers about how things have turned out in certain races. I don't like seeing it on social media. That doesn't make me happy. It's not helpful. And so that really never leaves you. But, as you continue, and especially for all of us who, when you go on and you end up racing with guys from these rival teams in U23s or in the senior team or the Olympic team, it evolves a bit, but you always kind of go back to where that sort of underlying undertone, the undercurrent of it all. But rivalry, I think, is super important in sport, super important, and valuable. And it's super helpful when it is, class opponents. And in my time at Cal, we went up against some very, very strong Washington crews. So, that again, I think the value of that competition is much higher when it's just faster, stronger, better crews that are dusting it up down the course.
That's how I feel with Harvard guys, where it's like I love hanging out with Bloomquist, but you get like 2 or 3 more of them in the room and you start looking around and you're like,
too much.
That's why. Right? Like one-on-one, we can be friends.
Backed against the wall.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to get Bloomquist on the show so he can answer to this.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm sure he feels the same.
Probably
does. So Brett, at what point did they tell you? Because you just showed up, right? Bob was like, "Oh yeah, just show up," right? And you're like, "Okay."
Yeah.
At what point were they like, "So turns out you got 3 years. We know you did 2 years already. Turns out you got 3 more."
I actually approached Bob with that after the 4th IRA I had been to. Bob pulled me in his office because it was like my 4th year of college, and it was at the beginning. I was trying to see like maybe I could have a really tough course load because not all of my credits had transferred from Michigan State. So I was like either looking for like a loaded 4th year and finishing in 4 years, or maybe I'd have to go some time for a 5th year, like another quarter or something. And Bob pulled me into his office and was like, "So what do you think about rowing next year?" I was like, "Well, I don't think I can. I've already rowed at the IRA 4 times." He was like, "Yeah, those first 2 years didn't count." I was like, "Wait, why is that club team? Those don't count. Those are like redshirting you. Well, it doesn't matter. It's fine." I was like, "Are you sure? Okay." I was gonna try and just finish this year, but he was like, "How about you just don't, and you take a really easy 5th year?" I was like, "And we'll pay. You'll be covered. You'll be full ride for your last year." I was like, "Done."
Oof! You drive a hard bargain there, Coach.
Hard bargain, but okay. So that's what I did. I took like a normal first quarter. The second quarter, because the way eligibility works is you have to take like a full credits, right, or full course load for the quarter prior to your last competing quarter. So I took a normal quarter, my first quarter. The second quarter, I didn't take any classes. I got a job. So there was a co-op program where you could like go out and intern for a company, and it would count as full credit, right, for the semester. So I did that, and I was getting paid. So I was rowing. I wasn't taking any class, and I was just going in to work a little bit every day. I was doing some of the work from just my apartment and some at this company in Everett called Virtual DSP. Steve Dame, if you're watching, he was my boss. He's awesome. He put this whole thing together for me so I could work. So I was using my degree, taking 0 classes and just rowing and getting paid. So I had money for like the first time in this ever. It was pretty amazing. Even my teammates were like, "What? All right, what are you doing?" He's like, "You're just working?" I was like, "Yeah, no class, working."
That's called Northeastern. That's called Northeastern.
Yeah, it was amazing. So I did that, and then the last quarter, I only had 1 class. It was an easy one. I didn't have to take a full course load because your eligibility is the previous quarter, and I was going to graduate anyway. So yeah, it was a super easy year. I rowed that 5th year at the IRAs, 1 of 1, and I don't regret it at all. It's fantastic because knowing what I know now with those guys in 04, there's no way I was going to break into that. They had something special going on. And from the time, like, they just wouldn't have had enough time running up to the Olympics just because of the schedule that they were on and all the sea racing they were doing. I would have like missed all that. And just to like inject me in that and be like, good luck. I mean, who knows? No, let's just say no. For my sanity, that would never have worked out. Those guys did fine without me, let's say. So, yeah. So I think I remember me and Sam Burns, we went there like the summer after the 04. Sorry, leading up to the 04 Olympics. They had the world champions. You still have the world champion, non-Olympic worlds, right? So we had tried out. Mike was like, "Come on out. We'll throw you in a Cox pair, see how it does." It's the first time either of us had been in a Cox pair, and we were like, "This is the heaviest boat in the world." and we did a time trial against Dan Beery, and I forget who his pair partner was, but they smoked us.
Was this 03? So was this 03? If this was 03, it was Matt.
Dana?
No, Dana was 02. They got silver. It was Matt Rich. Him and Matt
was
Rich.
It Matt Rich? Well, yeah. No. Oh, it was 04, non-Olympic Worlds. Or no. He went to Olympic. Yeah, it must have been 03. Yeah, Matt Rich. So we tried out that. Didn't work out. But I remember I was at AQ because they put us up there at the time. And I remember Sam had gone, like, Mike wanted to talk to him. He walked back into the Aquinas. I'm like, what's the deal? It was just like, we're going home. High-fived me, and we shotgunned some beers and called it a summer.
Not much has changed between you and Sam.
That's
I remember meeting you guys at that Italian restaurant with the fountain at the and at the end of that, and be like, you guys coming back? We're like, yeah, we're gonna totally come back. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Just not
great.
Not this next year. We'll be back.
So the Cox pair, the famous leg sled, is your first entry into the national team. And and you went back and did that last year at Washington.
Yep.
And so that takes us to the June of 2005. You finish the IRA and you come to the Princeton Training Center. And take us a little bit
now
through.
It's like we got the invite from Mike, right? So me, Sam,
hey, come
so you hopped in. So you hopped in the car.
It'd be great.
So you hopped in the car.
Drove out to Princeton from Washington. So at this point,
what kind of head unit did you have in there? Was it still like the tape? Was it still like the tape in there, and you're just playing off a CD? Or
did it have detachable face?
Yeah,
FM tuner.
Yeah,
was it FM tuner? FM tuner.
Was it 100%?
And it still worked great.
Was it 100%? You just rolled through the radio stations on the way across the country, or?
And I had cassettes. Cassette tapes.
We had cassettes.
That still worked. Everything worked in there. It's fantastic. And the AC. So I'm like, that's all I need. We rolled out. We got the invite. We were like, I don't really want to get a job yet, so let's try this thing. Yeah, we rolled out to Princeton in 2005. And at that point, we were all in. We were like, okay, Olympics are done. Those guys did awesome. Some of them are coming back, and we get to like look up to and row with all of those guys. So that's another step, right? So I did Michigan State. I did Washington. Next step, national team. And you're rowing with guys that have just won a gold medal at the Olympics. I'm like, okay, next step. Now these are the guys to beat. So again, it was just another, like you said, another carrot for you to try and get. And oh man, it was so much fun because you didn't have any school anymore. So it was just the rowing, which is, don't get me wrong, always a grind, multiple practices a day, super tired all the time. But when you get a half a day off or a day off and you have to spend some time off the water with the guys, amazing. You have so much energy, you have so much fun. And this is what you're doing day in and day out. This is your job. You're living in a church, so you're not paying rent. So shout out to Father Tom Malelli, leader of the Aquinas Institute in Princeton. Come on. So we were just a bunch of guys rowing in boats, trying to beat each other in Princeton, another new place that, I hadn't experienced that much. East Coast was new to me. I had gone to Michigan. I'm from Wyoming, born in California, college in Washington, but East Coast was like someplace every time I had like taken a trip to East Coast, just the humidity. I was like, oh,
new kind of heat.
What is that? I feel like I'm drowning and I'm just standing here on the sidewalk.
Why am I still wet? I just got out of the shower and I toweled off. Why am I
in the shade? I should be cool and dry. What is happening? So yeah, it was something new and exciting, and you're rolling with all these fun guys that are pushing you. And so yeah, we got out there. We graduated 2005, got out there in time to make the 2005 World Championship. So I was in the Cox 4. You see that poster right there is from Gifu, Japan.
That's right, baby.
we ended up getting silver at the World Championships. And so, yeah, Pat Sullivan, me, Matt Hughes, and Troy Kepper throwing it down in the coxswain. And Marcus was the coxswain. So jabbering away up there, just getting across the line.
Yeah. I think there's three really important things for the audience to know about that Gifu World Championships one, the U.S. tried to double up in the 8. Steve was in that 8 that won the World Championship, so they won the Olympics, win worlds in the 8. The 4 did pretty well, and Deacon, the monster that he was, still raced it with a hurt back, and
they had like a herniated disc or something.
Made the final, wins the World Championships. It was a really fast course because there were typhoons coming through all the time.
Yeah, there was current, so they negated any world records. There.
But it was super fast. And that's where I learned that Brett Newlin can sing, because it was the first and only time other than the Olympics where we had a time. We did not fly out at 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning after the finals were over, and we were staying there, and we had pooled our money together at the hotel to get the hotel to give us a karaoke machine. And Sharon Kriz, if you're watching this episode, she still tells the story of Matt Hughes beatboxing, you doing Sir Mix-a-Lot, Baby's Got Back, and me shaking my ass like a stripper, as she says, to the whole entire song to win the impromptu karaoke talent show.
And that was magical. That